everybody. Welcome again to The Last Government Watchdog. I'm Thomas Anderson, your host. So today we're just going to go over a couple things. We're going to go over Trump's VP pick and who I think it should be and who I think it will be. And we'll also talk about the post-Biden presidential debate debacle against Trump and what I think the strategy should be going forward and why that strategy should work, if it works. And why am I saying all this? And why am I here? Well, this is 18 years now. So I've been at this for 18 years, since 2006. I started my little consulting company called Tom Research. And since then, I've been helping behind the scenes with the media. First, I started off with the Palm Beach Post, helping with a few of their columnists and a few stories. I got a little volunteer job doing that research job. It was almost like an internship with them through the first ever black female board member for their editorial board. So she passed away, but Freddie Jefferson was an amazing person, and she got me into this. So thank you, Freddie, up above there, for helping me get into this. And it's been a wild ride. So with 18 years now under my belt, and of working behind the scenes with the media, doing research in the beginning, and then going into developing my own projects in the media, I've gotten to the point now where my work has become so good that I'm in the newspaper. I've been in the newspapers over 200 times. I'm now being quoted in the Post as a political expert, which I think I am at this point. And I'm not a corporate paid political expert. I am not a mainstream media political expert. I am more of a behind the scenes guy, blue collar guy who just did 16 years of media work, mainstream media type work with a think tank in Washington, D.C., conservative think tank, but 18 years total between local media down here in Florida and national media. And after 18 years of just doing that work, I've got insights, and I've got things that I don't want to sell it to the highest bidder. I'd rather share it because, working in the nonprofit world in a think tank for 16 years in a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C. just led me to realize that there's a world out there available to us in the media if we're not worried about the money, to actually do good work and to actually help guide things along, especially those of us with experience who have seen the system firsthand and who deal with government documents and personnel and other things on a daily basis. So that's what I'm doing here at the Last Government Watchdog, is just giving my insights from 18 years of media work, dealing with government watchdog work, and sharing them for free because it's better free. It's more legitimate. There's no secret hand or secret puppet hand behind me directing what I'm saying. It's all here. It's all me. And so let's just get into it, right? Trump's VP pick. I've been saying for a while, if you go on the Last Government Watchdog website, or if you go to my Substack, which is Thomas Anderson's Political Garden, you will see I've been calling on, or I've been saying that I think the best pick for Trump for VP would be Marco Rubio. Now, there are a bunch of reasons for that, but I've come now to the point where I think the main reason Trump should do it is because that's his power base now and going forward. Rubio is smack dab there in the middle of Trump's true power base here in Florida. And because of that, Rubio's important for a few reasons. Number one, he's young enough that he can carry the torch forward for Trump if Trump doesn't win. If they lose to Biden, Rubio can carry forward as the leader in the GOP, and he can run into 2028, which leaves Florida as still the big dog politically in the GOP, because then you'd have one of the top guys running for president who was Trump's former VP, and Rubio running for office, which would make just Florida tops when it comes to politics. And also because of that, Trump lives in Florida. So him in his retirement years, having Florida still be the center of GOP politics works well for him. So that's why, I've been thinking more and more that may be the biggest reason for Trump to choose Rubio, is because it's a win-win. If Trump wins, then Rubio then becomes really the big dog in 2028, running for president with the GOP. If they don't win, he still is the big dog. And so Trump will stay within the center of power in GOP politics, guaranteed now through his retirement, if Marco Rubio is his pick, is a win-win. So to me, I think in politics it's all about addition. I always say that, adding. And when you can multiply like this, why not multiply? So just when it comes to pure power, that's probably the best pick, Rubio. And I'm more in line with the pure power pick now idea. There were some other ideas I've had about it, which is Rubio's a great debater. He would definitely, in my opinion, beat Kamala Harris in the vice president debate. I think the other guys might have a problem with her. I'm not saying that she's a great debater. I'm just saying the other choices that they're saying out there, I just don't know. I haven't seen them win debates, right, on a national stage. I've seen Rubio do it on a national stage. I saw him just do it when he ran for re-election in Senate in Florida. He's a really good debater, okay? He's probably the best debater out there right now on both sides as far as potential presidential candidates rolling into 2028. That's how good he is. So that's the other positive you get in a Rubio pick is you get the best debater guy. Now, what else do you get with Rubio? Well, and this is what I said in the beginning, you're getting someone who can unite the party if you're Trump, because there are people like Larry Hogan out in Maryland running for the Senate. He won't speak to Trump. He just won't. Trump tried to give him his endorsement and the guy rejected it. And so like I said before, how do you get these guys into the fold who just refuse? They won't even take Trump's endorsement. Well, a guy like Marco Rubio, who is in the U.S. Senate, who is a proven guy in the GOP, he can reach out to guys like Larry Hogan. And so now you're a Trump, ticket now who can actually unite the party through Rubio. I don't think the other people that the media has been throwing out there are potential picks for Trump can do that for Trump, right? Can bring in these guys who just refuse to talk to him or refuse to take his endorsement. I think Rubio is the only one who can do that. So that's the other reason why I say Rubio is the best pick. Now, will they go with the best pick? I doubt it, right? They're the way they work and the way they do things tends to be just like gamesmanship and meme things, and it's all just like hocus pocus, smoke and mirrors. It's not really much. There's not a lot of there when you're talking about the stuff surrounding Trump, the apparatus there. It's just not there. So when they make their picks, it'll probably be like a guy like J.D. Vance. They won't even be thinking about how he fits in. All they're thinking is that they can basically control him, and that works because they're the brains behind whatever they think they're doing. Anyway, so I think that will probably be the pick as a guy like J.D. Vance, because he's the guy I think the people around Trump think that they can control the most. So probably him. And that's how they kind of do things, is they don't really go with who's the best at what they do. They go with whoever's going to take orders. And so that's a J.D. Vance guy. Marco Rubio isn't just going to take orders. He's too smart for that. He's going to stand up against that. He's got his own network. He's got his own power base. I highly doubt Rubio is going to just take orders. And so that's the big hit against him, is the people around Trump and that political apparatus just don't want people who are independent thinkers who can stand up, on their own 2 feet and do their own thing. That's not what they're about. They're about people who cower down and basically grovel and just do whatever they're told. And so I think that's J.D. Vance, in my opinion. And so that's who I think the pick will be. But I think if they want to win an election, then you pick Rubio, right? That's about winning an election. That's about getting the job done. But they think they have games and tricks to get the job done. And that's what they have to rely upon, because that's what they have working for them in their little group. That's what they have. They don't have people who can really deal with a Rubio guy. They only have people who can play dirty trick games and can play mind tricks and do the different things. And that's a J.D. Vance guy that they can do those things to. They're not going to be able to do that to Rubio. So that's a knock on them. And that's my experience from dealing with the media around Trump over the last, I don't know how many years, and working within, the conservative movement there in D.C. From my opinion, that's how they're going to go with it. They might see this right now. and might say, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should try to win an election and go to Rubio. I don't know. It's free advice. They haven't hired me. They would never hire me. But with that said, they probably should go with Rubio for the reasons I stated. With that said, let's move on to the good stuff, and that's Biden. I wrote, going into the debate, a quick little write-up on my Twitter feed. You can check it out at @LastGovWatch. That's my Twitter handle. Check out what I wrote about right before the debate. I gave a quick little breakdown or synopsis or prediction. And I said that, Biden had the harder night because he had more things he had more weight to carry. Trump had an easier night because when you think about the media, when you think about modern day debates, fact checking doesn't exist. Reality doesn't exist. You can basically just make it up. It's all a show thing now with television and debates. So we're never going to get a substantive debate. But I knew that the Biden people were going to prep him like this is some kind of substantive debate and not some type of game show, because that's what it was a game show. If you look at the CNN set, it was a game show. If you look at the hosts and the moderators, they were acting more like game show hosts, right? And what was really crazy about it was the muting of the different of Trump and Biden, because everybody knows when they muted Trump, he was still yelling into the microphone even more. So he's muted. You can't hear him. But guess who is hearing him? Biden. So Biden has to answer questions while in an empty TV set with lights everywhere with a guy yelling at him, but it's muted and the TV audience can't hear that. Right? So you could tell that this was set up in a way where coming in, trying to talk about facts or using statistics and things just wasn't going to work. And I said that I knew that wasn't going to happen, and that's what happened. And so Biden comes in with a bad makeup job. He's coming in kind of tired. He's coming in on a weird TV set, a weird setup. They're muting mics. It's all strange. Go back and look at it. It wasn't a normal debate setup. It was strange. And so you have all that going on. And on top of that, Biden isn't a good debater to begin with. And he has a bad debate. And he's an older guy who's on a heavy workload. When you put it all together, he had a really bad night for someone who's carrying the weight of the world on his back 24/7, 365. Bottom line, okay? So, I have a little sensitivity for these things because I live, for people who know me, I live with a hidden, illness/disability, something that really forces me to have to live my life in a way different from everyone else around. I don't have a choice. I just don't have a choice. And no one cares whether I have a choice or not. That's what I've learned in our society, at least in America. And it's probably the rest of the world too. Nobody cares that I have an ailment that I'm suffering from that makes it so that I can't live a normal life like everyone else does, that I have to do a bunch of things every single day to be able to get through the day, just to be able to function like a regular person. It's crazy. And it's something that our society just doesn't care about. I think this is Disability Month or something. And this is a great month for me to talk about this because that's what I feel like is happening with Biden. And I don't want to say he's disabled, but as someone gets older, you have to start living your life differently. You can't live like you're a 45-year-old politician, right? You can't, be up all night long. You can't be working every single day. You just can't. So that's what I see in Biden. And I don't think the old man has ever really sat down and humbled himself to adjust the way he's living his life. He has to adjust. He just has to adjust. The good thing is, in today's modern society, the adjustments we can make, people who have disabilities, people who are physically not capable of being totally, healthy like someone else, having a full day like that, we have technology now that can empower people like myself, empower people like the president. Okay? That's not a bad thing. We've had presidents with disabilities before, right? JFK, right? Roosevelt. We've had issues before with presidents who weren't that healthy, and that's okay. But in today's world, when you think about it, because of the technology we have at our disposal, being not that healthy is just fine, actually, right? Because we don't need, as a nation, the most physically fit guy who can carry a sword and slay a dragon. Like, that's not the world we live in right now. We need someone more like Professor X, someone who may not be able to walk that well, but has a brain and can actually understand what's going on and can manipulate the levers of government to get things done for the American people and not allow our nation to be usurped or sucked away by foreign interests, right? Which is what's been happening. And so that's where we're at. And unfortunately for a lot of Democrats, I think they fell for this. You know, they saw what they saw on TV and it really freaked them out. And I understand why it would, but if you're anyone who knows anyone who has a disability or who has to live a life in a way that isn't, you know, they're not healthy, ask them about Biden and what they think. And I'm telling you, man, they will give you a different story. They will tell you, nah. You know what? I'm not saying this is guaranteed. I'm not saying everyone will say this, okay, with who has a disability, but I'm just telling you, people who have disabilities, especially invisible ones, are going to view the Biden situation and they're going to kind of chuckle a little bit and laugh and say, you know, that happens to us. Okay, it happens. And I saw it. That's what I saw. And so that's why I haven't been one to call for Biden to step down or anything like that, because I don't think it's like that in this case. And so everyone's thinking, well, you still have to have a president who can do everything and physically and blah, blah. And I get that, right? And that's understandable that you want the most physically fit president. But the two choices we don't have the two most physically fit guys regardless. Both the guys are really old. And I'm not saying, you know, voters should choose the guy who's the lesser evil. I'm not saying who anyone should vote for. I'm good no matter who wins. So I'm not telling you anyone right now who to vote for. What I am saying is as a nation and as citizens, we should be a little bit aware of what's really going on and maybe not fall for something that's a media mirage, because that's what I see this as with Biden. It's a huge media rig job. And the reason why, the main thing that I see in that, and this is coming from my 18 years of working behind the scenes, okay, whenever they can constantly use unnamed sources deep within the White House, you don't want to say who it is, that's a rig job. It just is. Because if it's legitimate what's going on, okay, and I've worked with the media now, they will reveal the source. They will. I'm just telling you, they will burn the source. They will burn. If they're not burning the source, there's something going on. It's a rig job. And I'm not saying that someone on the inside is helping. What I'm saying is, if they're not burning their source to legitimize their story, what they're trying to do is set up more access along this exact same storyline with whoever it is they're talking to. That's a rig job. All right. That's almost like providing media cover to someone that may be trying to look for another job. Because look, when this election comes up, they're going to switch up the White House a little bit. Right. So people may be looking for jobs right now. So they may be talking to someone who's looking for a new job and they need some coverage. They find that new spot. And as long as these guys keep their name out of the news, they're good. Right. The bottom line is, that's just one example, but I could go on and on as to how this looks from a media's perspective. And to me, it looks like a rig job, on top of people getting in the Democrat Party, getting apoplectic for no reason, freaking out. They got a lot of in the chattering class, people that are just like, it's too much to me. But, you know, that's what they do. You know, I think the American people, if anyone's watching this, my advice is, as a regular person out there, you know, ignore the media hype right now. The media, the mainstream media especially, they got out of the job of actually holding powerful people accountable. They stopped doing that about 10 years ago. They don't do it anymore. Okay. They work for the powerful. That's just what's happening. So you really have to, when you're watching what you're watching and you're reading what you're reading, you have to just realize that, you know, what's being published has kind of been paid for. Okay. It kind of has, and they're not really holding anybody accountable. So if it seems like they're holding someone accountable, you probably want to take a step back and kind of watch it a little more. With that said, the Biden people have a huge problem. They've got big issues going forward. They have to deal with stuff, man. Like this debate performance was so bad that now, to me, Biden has to prove every single day that he's worthy to be president. He can't go a day without looking healthy and looking spry and looking good. And so if I'm the Biden people, I'm having a film team in the White House. I'm trying to get some film footage of the new Biden, who's new and refreshed, who's refocusing his work schedule and building a schedule around his health and well-being. And just having some nice little behind the scenes views of what that looks like. Because I promise you, it's going to look a lot like what a lot of us are going through every single day in the morning. He may not be drinking coffee in the morning right now. Maybe he has to drink some tea, some herbal tea. I don't know. But all I'm saying is those adjustments probably should be made public through their social media feed. That's what I would do. These are the steps I would take, because I think at this point, if Biden is improving on a daily basis, that he's spry, that he's healthy, that he's in it to win it, he is going to have a problem within his own party with people who are secret sources talking to the mainstream media who are just playing their little games, right? So he's got to do that. That's a daily grind. That's something that's his responsibility. I think they need to do that. I think what they also need to do is give Kamala Harris way more responsibility. I think they need to set her up as the commander in chief in training, and she needs to be way more on top of the domestic issue stuff, like way more on top of the domestic issue stuff to allow Biden to free up his time to do more of the international stuff. My opinion. So, those are the things I've been covering on my Twitter. Once again, that's LastGovWatch, right? Check that out. But I think ultimately Biden still wins this election. And the reason why I think he still wins is because the Democrats actually have a political machine out there that works, that can actually get donations in like crazy, and those donations get applied to actual political races and not burnt on some lawfare thing or some weird super PAC running weird ads like what happened with Ron DeSantis. There's a lot of grifting going on in the right, especially in the alt media sector. And so on the Republican side, they think that they've got this machine. They think they've got this thing ready to go. But when they go to actually implement, they're going to find that up and down that their political machine are a bunch of grifter guys, are a bunch of people who claim they know what they're doing but don't. Right? They say all the good things, but they're not really political experts. And that's going to show on election day. It's going to show in spades. Okay. You got to have real political expert people who actually know what they're doing. You do. And on the right, they've lost all those people primarily, or those people have been pushed to the bottom of authority, and they've put the people in charge who don't really know what they're talking about, but they talk a good game. Right. And so that's going to pan out here. And a perfect example, by the way, was just after the debate. Biden raised records amounts of money. When the debate finished, Trump barely raised any money. And the reason why is because the Trump political machine apparatus wasn't in position to take advantage of a tremendous debate win. How is that possible? That they weren't in position, but they weren't. Right? Just like with their mishap in Maryland, right? Where they can't even give Trump's endorsement to the former governors running for Senate. I mean, these are huge political blunders that are made by people who just don't know what they're doing. Right? The Democrats don't have that problem. They've got a ton of experience, and it's going to show on election day. Okay, it just is. You can already see it with the fundraising dollars. So with that said, I think this is a huge bump in the road for the Biden people. I think they have to be really careful right now. But I think the way they work out of this is on a daily basis. They've got to show Biden's spry and ready to go, man. They got to do it every day. There's no choice. And they have to do it in a way that makes sense and that connects with everybody, with all of us who have to do the same kind of stuff. Okay, it's hard out there. And nobody cares what you got to do to get ready. Nobody cares, but it would be nice to see the commander in chief have to go through the same stuff we're going through. A little sneak peek of that kind of stuff. I think that works. I think that brings it home. And I think it explains the debate performance in spades, in my opinion. With that said, hey, Lastgovernmentwatchdog.com is my website. LastGovWatch is my Twitter page. And you've also got Thomas Anderson's Political Garden. That's my Substack. You can check all that out. I've got the Last Government Watchdog YouTube page, which this video will be on. Check it out. No big deal. I'm not trying to flip an election. We're just talking politics here. We're just talking about from a media perspective, a behind the scenes media perspective, and just trying to give some perspective on what's going on. So as a regular person, you're not surprised, or you're not caught off guard. You're not running through this fake political roller coaster that's being rigged up by people right now. I think everybody needs to relax and everything will be fine. I think this is going to be a great election. With that said, hey, have a great day. Talk to you next time. Thomas Anderson, I'm out.